Ladies and gentlemen, it turned out far worse than we anticipated. Donald Trump's tariffs are worse than the worst case scenario, and there's serious implication throughout the whole world's economy, especially Singapore and potentially Malaysia as well. And we'll analyze all of them. What's going to happen to the stock market? It's really showing a terrible sign right now. I will tell you what's happening, and more importantly, please watch till the end where I give my recommendation, what we should all do. Let's watch on, shall we? In a nutshell, what has just happened is really, 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 really very bad. And today, this is what I'll cover. I'll cover what Trump did. Some of you already know. I want to also give you a summary of the global response to his tariff and possible repercussion to all of us. What's the stock market impact? And in particular, what's the impact to Singapore and to Malaysia, given that we have quite a big Malaysian fan base right now? What we should all do. Please remember, hit subscribe. This is a very critical time right now where every day there will be new responses. I will anticipate over the next 1 week, all the way leading to the execution of the tariff itself, there will be a lot of changes and things like that. So please hit subscribe. If possible, tonight, somewhere around midnight, I will do a live stream and see what's happening, and I'll give you all some response based on the stock market impact as well. As a disclaimer, what I've shared is more for education, entertainment, and not for financial advice. Let's go. So according to analysts, Trump's new tariff is worse than the worst case scenario. And indeed, it is true, right? Who knows that China will be hit with a 34% tariff, EU 20%, Vietnam 46%, and so on. Even Singapore is hit with a 10% tariff, and that's quite disastrous. Remember, I actually said that Tom Lee, the infamous analyst that says that there will be a V-shaped recovery after April the 2nd. He said that the odds of a V-shaped recovery in stocks after April 2nd extremely high. And I told everybody that I don't think so. In fact, I think that it's going to be the other way. And guess what? I think this time I'm right. The S&P 500 futures at the time of recording is already down 3%. And that's really, really very serious for a 3% cut. And for the NASDAQ, is looking at a 3.2%. Earlier, it was at 4% down, but it's still a massive down. Interestingly, TLT pre-market is up by about 1%, and it's cushioned some of the fall that I have. And I've always said that we all should have a balance of equities, bonds, and whatever. This is a time where there is a flight to safety from equities to bonds. Now, the only downside is that if there is a massive inflationary pressure, then the bonds will fall as well. But right now, it's playing the role very well in cushioning the effect. So if you have listened to Mr. Lu and traditional economists and financial experts in telling you to have a share of bonds and share of equities is for a reason like this, for such a day. So world leaders have criticized Donald Trump as a major blow. And EU chief Ursula has actually said that, it's a major blow to world economy. And a lot of other countries have also resonated the same thing. And everybody is now taking possible response to react and hit back at US. So right now, she has promised that she will take resolute countermeasure against the US. And all the countries in the world, are now responding. Their words of warning come after the US announced that there'll be a universal 10% tariff for all imports coming into US. All 60 countries will be hit with stiffer tariff from 9th of April. So the magic number is 5th of April, where they will execute the 10% tariff, and then steeper tariff will come from 9th of April. But basically, it's the next 1 week. So EU in particular are prepared to retaliate against Trump. Now, take note, EU is probably the only country, so as to say, collectively, that can fight US, because the GDP of EU and US is the same. So they do have a strong bargaining power, and they can hit US well. And of course, US can hit them well as well. So they're now preparing for further countermeasures, says European Commissioner Ursula. So China right now has urged US immediately lift all the tariffs, and or else I will hit you back with retaliation. So the Ministry of Commerce have urged US to immediately cancel the tariff, adding that China would resolutely take countermeasure to safeguard its own rights and interests. So China is not afraid of US. Let me say categorically. To some extent, of course, they won't feel comfortable, but China is not afraid of US. They've diversified themselves. They have been hit once in 2018 and 19. They are not stupid. They are doing everything they can. They have, recycled all their industry out of China. Anytime they are hit, they can find the cheapest route and route through. They can go through Singapore. It's only 10%. And so on. But right now, they are all out to tell China, cancel it or you hit you back. Taiwan, good friend of US, hit with a 32% tariff to US. Taiwan, I think, is gone. Taiwan now is being claimed by both China and US. And Taiwan is, I think, feeling very vulnerable. In the past, Taiwan has a godfather called US. Now they don't have. And the real father is going after them, which is China. So Taiwan right now is feeling very, 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 very cramped on both sides. So South Korea president is also very upset because this country is hit with a 25% rate. Japan is hit with 24% and said that the levies are extremely regrettable and will violate World Trade Organization and US-Japan agreement. I don't think Trump give a damn. I don't think Trump give a damn about World Trade Organization or any pre-signed tariff, Thailand said you'll negotiate its 36% tariff. So basically, all these countries are hit massively, massively. World trade will come down for sure. Even those countries who played ball, bend their knees, bow their heads, like Israel, and really scrape all the tariffs on American imports ahead of announcement, was completely shocked with a 17% tariff. So Israel has already cancelled all tariffs from US to their country, and they also kena 17%, right? So kena betrayed. So now there are some countries like Australia, to some extent Singapore, and I'll talk about Singapore in a short while. We play ball. You have got surplus with us, and yet, they also hit with 10%. So he said this is an unjustified tariff, and his government will not impose reciprocal measure, but it's just, piece of a TL. Now let's talk about Singapore. Singapore has just issued a statement. Deputy Prime Minister Gan Kim Yong has outright said that Singapore will engage US on tariffs, not seeking recourse under FTA, and may downgrade its growth forecast. Okay, and let's take a look at the details. So Gan Kim Yong outright said that Singapore do not intend to have countermeasures to the US tariff for one simple reason. Who are we? We got no bargaining power against US. We hit them back. They hit us 10 times worse, we're dead, right? So Singapore is a small fry, we're a price taker. So let all the Singaporeans who don't know how vulnerable we are go wake up yourself. Singapore is a very, very, very vulnerable country. And right now, our growth outlook may be downgraded due to its impact. Okay, the 10% tariff, people say 10% subsidy. 10% is going to have a significant impact on Singapore economy. Okay, and those people who think that your STI index is still okay, you haven't seen what's going to happen to Singapore yet. Singapore is very vulnerable, and warning their household and businesses to prepare for rough water ahead. The Singapore government is not like Donald Trump. When they say something, they really mean it. Okay, that there is dark days. I already said for the last 1 month, brace for impact, brace for impact. This is coming. So let me give you some analysis. I actually borrowed some of the messages from Kelvin Cheng. He really analyzed it really very good. Now, let me tell you why we're going to hit really badly. So Singapore has thrived because the world after World War II has really evolved to one of a free trade. Okay, and we rode on the free trade. Our economy go up because of trade, and our trade is 3 times that of our GDP. So our income and our welfare of our country really flourish because we're a trading hub. Singapore is a trading hub, meaning that a lot of countries ship their things to us and then go out, and then ship their things to us and go out. So this is going to get hit, even though our 10% tariff is the lowest among ASEAN, but all our trading partners get hit. And because they get hit, the US consumer is going to scale down a lot of overseas purchase if they can. And guess what's going to happen? All the trade will go down. Singapore will have less trade. And guess what will happen? So Singapore, for example, supply components for manufacturing the final products in other country, example China, which are then exported to US. If the US restrict imports from China or ASEAN, Singapore intermediary exports will collapse. Okay. In other words, with a Singapore economy that is open, Singapore is highly dependent on international trade. We, as an open economy, possibly the world's most open economy, will be badly hit. Let's talk about Malaysia. Malaysia faced a 24% tariff export to US, and over 60% of Malaysian US exports are electronics, industrial equipment. Recently, there's a massive, there's a massive electronic boom, semiconductor boom in Malaysia. I'm sorry to say that is going to get hurt. So Malaysia supplies components to Chinese factory for final assembly, which then exports to US. A 54% tariff on China could reduce demand for Malaysian export by 100 to 200 billion ringgit annually. And if Donald Trump were to slam the door on finished goods from China or ASEAN, Malaysia intermediate exports will also be hit badly. I think on top of exports and imports being hit as well, there is a chance that when the trading partners retaliate against US, the whole tariff structure will increase, and this will cause more trade to be hurt. So both Singapore and Malaysia will be hurt terribly as well if the trade war escalates. I wish things would be simple, as this is a starting point. Over the next 1 week, they can negotiate things away. Fortunately, that is possibly a starting point for negotiation. So the Trump team make it very clear. These tariffs are starting point for negotiation. Negotiate with us one by one if you want a lower rate. This whole thing has a striking resemblance to 1930 trade war. I already said in my earlier videos that there is a Smooth-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930, and that caused the entire stock market to crash massively, right? So somewhere around here, 100 points, it crashed all the way to here, Now, of course, that coincided with the Great Depression as well, but that certainly aggravated the Great Depression, and only after 4 years were the entire tariff war, being lifted, and that caused the market to restore. So in a worst case scenario, we are looking at a 4-year drought, and that would be very bad. Now let me talk about the key implications, and these are all my views, and this is not telling you to buy or sell, remember. And let me tell you that there is a lot of implications. Number one is that we need to prepare for the worst case scenario, and nowadays worst case scenario can have worser case scenario, and there is just an insane level of uncertainty and volatility ahead. One day up, one day down, one day up, one day down. Now it's trending down, 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 down. I've been telling people again and again and again, there's no need to be Rambo. I see so many people, I DCA down. Okay, a DCA down. Okay, good for you. The formula works. Right now, I'm sure you're regretting. Okay, and a lot of people say, Mr. Lu, you stupid idiot. When the market was down 6%, 7%, you didn't go in. Okay, right now, guess who is laughing? So I need to tell you that, I think that this thing will continue in a rough patch for a long time. And I think there's no need to be Rambo. Okay, I'll wait for turnaround signals. And I've already said there are just 2 turnaround signals that we're looking at. Number one, for Trump and other countries to come to an agreement of ceasefire of some form. Number 2, for the Fed to intervene in a massive way. We need to look for these 2 signals. There could be third or fourth signal that I can only tell when it comes out, and that is why you all need to hit subscribe, because once those signal comes out, I'll tell everybody. Okay, for those people who want to miss this thing, no, too bad. Nowadays I do a lot more live stream, as you can see, and I delete those live stream. I finish my live stream, and so only subscribers get these privileges. So going back, our economy, Singapore or Malaysia, will be hit, will be seriously hit. Mark my word. Okay, so brace for impact. Right now, conserve cash, lots of cash. Okay, prepare yourself for 9 months, 12 months kind of living expenses. Postpone all major expenses. Don't be stupid to go and buy your condominium and landed property in times like this. It's just too dangerous. Wait a few months, won't matter. Don't be crazy to go and renovate your house right now. Renovation in Singapore is very, very expensive. Don't need to be gung-ho at this point in time. You can afford to wait. What's wrong with living in a house with a bit of unpleasant environment to yourself? Just wait for a little while. Okay. You want to go for expensive US, Europe holiday, just wait for a while. Go to Malaysia, go to Thailand, whatsoever, right? You want to buy a new car, postpone it, right? Just postpone it, wait for a while. So there is no need to be gung-ho and take a dangerous position. For business people, let me warn everybody, please don't take major business risks. This is not a time that you buy any companies. This is not a time you make major investments. And for individuals who are seeking a career change right now, if your job is safe, don't go and change it right now. Don't be rude to your bosses if they decide on your career, and just play it safe. And I want to say this with certain level of rudeness. Please forgive me, because I think a lot of people are playing dangerous right now. Don't effing short the market. There's unlimited downside and limited upside. You can go bankrupt, okay? Because we don't know whether market will suddenly bounce up and then you're caught as well, okay? Don't enter into leverage positions. And finally, don't panic, okay? This whole thing, in the worst case, I think 4 years it will go away. You just need to ride through these 4 years, But in between, there could be turnaround signs, I think Trump, it is unpredictable, but he's not insane, right? He's unpredictable, but he's not insane. He will still try to do something right, once he see things are really going out of hand. But it's difficult to tell. This is where I know a lot of people don't like me saying this, but I think it's reached a point where it's important for me to stress this, given that G is coming. Please support a strong government to protect your well-being. Don't weaken our government in face of a terrible threat. Do not weaken our defenses. Do not weaken our government. Give them a strong mandate. Give them the best people that they have. We need all the good politicians to protect our country right now, to negotiate with US and to also fight this imminent threat. If you take this threat lightly, I tell you, some of you are going to cry, okay? So I would strongly suggest that you give your full support to government so that they can fight the battle for you to protect our country's well-being. So all said and done, remember to hit subscribe. I will try to keep everybody informed real time as much as I can. Tonight, I'll see whether I can go live once I see the stock market and impact, and also some of the countermeasures that responded. And I'll see you, as quick as possible. Remember, that these are times that we need to stay calm and see what it goes. So I'll see you in a day or two. Thank you and goodbye.